What images come to mind when you think of organic dairy?
Cows,
Yes.
hopefully in their natural state, on a field, not locked up, not fed corn, grains, and grass like cows should eat.
Just means that wherever it was grown, there's some greater assurance that harmful materials weren't used in growing the product. And I think that's pretty important today.
Happy farmers, happy cows, whatever. Don't ask me about chickens.
You always do this. What is your deal, huh?
Lively Run Goat Dairy is a family-owned and operated farm in Interlaken, New York. The dairy was founded in 1982 by the Feldman family. The Messmers bought the farm from the Feldmans in 1995 and moved to its current location in 1999. The Messmers pride themselves for their humane treatment of animals while producing high-quality dairy.
Basically, we believe that the goats should be treated really well, and I think they are. I think they're a little bit pampered at this point. Well, it's small enough for us now still that we really know the animals and they know us. So they're not just numbers and they're not just production units.
Under the Feldmans, the farm was started almost incidentally, but has always had a history of humane treatment of goats.
So Beth Feldman, the lady who did it, she's actually very knowledgeable about goats and cheese making. And she was doing it basically because she really liked goats. She just liked the animals and she liked having them around. And so it started off with her having like a couple goats as pets. And then, those couple goats had kids and she was like, great, what do I do with all these goats? And it just sort of snowballed from there into like her little business. And then when we bought it, it snowballed into this much larger business. We have right now 22 milkers, 8 yearlings, and 29 kids, which were born in May this year. So we do what's called a free stall, which means it's a big pen that the goats can roam around in at will. And in the summertime, we try to graze our milkers as much as possible. Keeping them grazed helps us because it means that we don't have to feed as much hay, and it helps them because they get more exercise, and having a wider variety of different foods that they're eating improves milk quality.
The Messmer family has kept to its roots by running a cheese shop on the farm from May through October, as well as selling to local restaurants. However, the increase in production has helped Lively Run expand its distribution to Green Star Co-op and Wegmans in Ithaca and Binghamton.
We're producing a fair amount of milk and cheese, so in the summertime right now, I'm processing around 11 to 12,000 pounds of milk a week, which equates to around 1,100, 1,200 pounds of cheese. I think we ran the numbers, and last year we produced probably like 20 or 30,000 pounds of cheese. And the Feldmans were probably doing a tenth of that, maybe 2,000 pounds of cheese a year.
Lively Run's business growth has come without relying on an organic label for its products.
We don't meet those rigid organic requirements, but we are natural in the sense that all of our cheese is completely natural. We don't put any additives, no preservatives, no food colorings, no chemicals. It's just straight up clean cheese. And so therefore, we maintain that tradition. Even though we're not technically certified organic, we still follow those practices.
Jerrydale is a family-owned farm in Dryden, New York. Jerrydale was founded in 1946 with 50 cows by Gerald and Ardella Sherman. It now milks over 450 cows. The farm became certified organic in 2001 after financial struggles in the 1990s.
Nobody was happy. The cows are stressed, people are stressed, the fields are stressed. So we decided to make a change. We talked to some people, and some people just told us to get out and sell everything, and Dad didn't want to do that, so moved the cows in that spring. We put the cows back out on pasture where they should be.
Not all of the cows get to enjoy the rolling hills of Tompkins County. The calves at Jerrydale are individually caged and separated shortly after birth to keep them from transmitting diseases.
Well, when calves are born, they're no different than newborn babies, humans, and they're susceptible to any of the environmental diseases out there. So we keep them separate from each other so they don't suck on each other and pass diseases, colds back and forth real easy that way and stuff like that.
After 3 to 6 months, young heifers are moved to a larger pen until they become milking cows, at which point they are allowed to graze out in the pastures. They will return here when they are near labor. Lively Run also separates their kid goats from their mothers after the first month or two. However, the kids are allowed to grow up in the same pen.
It's advantageous to keep the kids from the adults if there are any medical issues going on, so that the kids don't pick up anything that could go on in the herd. That is advantageous, but from each other, I don't think so.
Contrary to the general perception that happy cows are always kept out in the open fields to graze, raising cows requires different methods than raising goats. The individual separation of young calves is a standard farming practice.
It is a perception, but there's still management reasons for doing that. In organic, you can't use a lot of conventional antibiotics or other treatments. So if the animal gets sick, then you either pull that animal out of the organic herd, which affects you financially in the long run, or the animal suffers unduly. There's a whole lot of management practices that have to be integrated to deal with animal health. And while it may look like it's sort of, they're lonely and it's unfair that they have to be in these little spaces, there's probably really good decisions for why it's done that way. And it's kind of a standard practice, whether it's organic or conventional.
Not having an organic label does not necessarily translate to a lower quality product. This is especially true in the case of Lively Run. The goat dairy doesn't have an organic certification, but goes above and beyond to adhere to most organic practices.
The technically organic movement involves things that were not really economically feasible for a small-scale goat dairy. The cost and the price point of those commodities is so high that it would make our products, it would turn them into a niche of a niche, and to the point where I don't think we would survive that economically. We couldn't sell enough organic goat cheese, at least in this area, to sustain, our operation. We just make it clear that we're natural but not organic, and then we explain what that means.
There are a number of third-party organic certifiers who all use the national standard requirements to determine certification. Depending on the scale of the food production, there are increased costs to maintain the organic label.
Costs are based upon your gross income. And so you have to make more than $5,000 in gross income before you have to be certified. That's part of the National Organic Program. But then for what you are over that, I think it starts around $400 and goes up per year. So every year you have to file and be certified and then pay that fee.
The organic food market has grown 25-fold since 1990, and 70% of shoppers now buy organic at least some of the time. However, there is a recent shift in consumer attitudes toward the local food market. 47% of adults would be willing to pay more for their food if it was locally grown, according to a recent Whole Foods Market survey. With these choices, it has become more important for consumers to know what it is they are buying.
Are you aware that Lively Run is actually not certified organic? They're just local?
No, I didn't know that. They're not certified?
They're not certified organic. Everything they do is organic. They just don't have the certification.
Yeah. That's interesting.
As a consumer, you have to be a bit shrewd and know what that means for you. How or what is important to you is what's going to drive your decision making.
Rather than having it be certified organic, I guess, I'd rather have it be local and grown or made by somebody I know, or at least somebody I can get to know.
Organics has been good, has made this farm viable again. We have 14 full-time people, so that's 14 families that it helps pay for. And then, the cows are healthier, they last longer.
I think that what's exciting is that there's just more choices. You can buy a much greater diversity of local products now than perhaps before, and there's more people interested. So as long as the markets grow, the demand and the market and these products grow together, I think it's only going to be easier and easier.